see the house floor?
Is that the house floor?
Yeah. Almost like a mosaic of daily life pressed down into the dirt.
So who lived here and how many people lived here?
Well, this was a Yupik settlement, and about 200 people lived here, starting as early as 1450 AD. This is all wood from Shakespeare's time.
Gosh, it's been preserved so well.
Because of the preservation here, the average digger will find 1 or 2 jaw-dropping museum pieces per day.
Okay, well, let's keep digging.
At the edge of the world, archaeologists are digging down, and through the artifacts they find, piecing together the story of a historical community.
Ooh, look at that bit.
Yeah, it's nothing. But it won't take too long.
Did you just find that?
Yeah, that might be something nice.
Nice.
This is a piece of a drum rim.
A drum rim? Someone put this on the floor 500 years ago, and you just picked it up and handed it to me.
Just now, right? And yours are the first warm hands that have touched that in centuries. And it was a drum used in celebrated the relationship of people with their environment. The objects we're finding are important not just to local folks and their heritage, but to our collective heritage as humans. What's scary is that with climate change, this record is under threat. It's a race against time, both against erosion and the fact that the permafrost has melted and these things are slowly rotting.
They're rotting?
This is our 15th year working on this site. And since we started, the environmental conditions have shockingly changed. Once the permafrost is gone, these sites are exposed to decay. And this amazingly preserved fossil and archaeological record in the Arctic is being lost very quickly.
It's kind of shocking to hear that this is a race. This is a race against time and the preservation of our story.
Yeah. All we can do is rescue what we can as fast as we can. It's like a museum that's on fire.
Our planet is going through volatile climate change. We will have to adapt fast, but there's more at risk than we know.
Give it 5 or 10 more years, all of this would be lost.
From the shores of Alaska to the islands of Africa, the havoc wrought by global warming means some artifacts, places, and even entire cultures will simply vanish, never even making it into the history books.
It will be erased.
Yes.
It will be gone.
Yeah.
Are some cultures more important to save than others? Can this be stopped? Who will rise up to protect humanity's story from disappearing? I've come to Quinhagak, Alaska, and the home of the Yupik people to understand the impact that a warming planet is having on unearthing their ancestors' cultural artifacts.
Rick's told me to look for Lisa, and they're in charge of basically the lab and what happens to the objects afterwards. Lisa? Yes. Hi. I am obviously with the right person because you've got one of the objects in your hand.
Yeah, that's right.
What do you got there?
So this is a little bentwood vessel, or this might have been a dipper. So if you imagine these like attached to each other and then a long handle on this, you've held it here and then dip it to get water out.
Lise is the site's lab manager. After the items are dug up, they're processed and logged by them.
Digging here absolutely spoils you for doing archaeology anywhere else. The fact that we're finding wood, basketry, like no one else had found 400-year-old basketry and ropes before. So that's absolutely incredible.
With every object they clean, sort, and document, Lisa adds to the story of the Yupik people. But in the last couple of years, the threads of that story are fraying.
How are these artifacts being damaged?
The reason that the preservation at the site is so good is because it's been waterlogged and frozen, which are sort of perfect conditions. There's no oxygen, there's nothing moving. But in recent years, the permafrost has been basically disappearing. When we first started out, we couldn't dig until August because everything was still frozen. Now, in June, we dig 2-3 meters. There's no permafrost at all. And so that can really, like the quality of the wood is really deteriorating. So this wood has been in a absolutely great condition for 400 years. But as you can see, like the wood from this year, it's falling apart. Like there's roots growing into the wood. It's crumbling, it's falling apart. And this has been through treatment. So this is as good a condition as we're going to get it in. The wood is disappearing in front of our eyes. So we're losing these cultural deposits with every year. We're losing them. They're eroding, they're deteriorating in the ground, and they'll be gone.
What do we lose when we lose them?
Well, from an archaeological perspective, there's a lot of knowledge about ways of life, about culture, about the people who lived. And with losing that knowledge, we also lose the opportunity for Native people, young people today, to reconnect with that heritage and to relearn some of the skills and to stay connected to those ways of living. So when everything is washed and dried and labeled and cataloged, it ends up in here in the museum. This is by far the largest collection of pre-contact Yupik material anywhere in the world. That's all the lithics. That entire back wall is all pottery. And then in all of the drawers, there's the pieces that are actually recognizable.
Oh, wow! They're incredible. They just came out of the earth just like that. Oh, man, everything you said in that other room is just really kind of, we would have lost this entire story.
There's hundreds, if not thousands, of sites like this out there across Alaska. Give it 5 or 10 more years and all of this will be gone. So all of this would be lost.
I mean, they're just in time. Or are they? Are they just in time? The Yupik people get to keep some of the artifacts, learn about some of their history and their culture. But it's really tragic to think about the amount that's going to be lost because the permafrost and the coastal erosion and the seawater. But could this be just a problem in one area, in one part of Alaska? Or is this a bigger problem, and at what scale?
I want to see what's happening to Alaska's climate. And here, you don't have to go very far along, just quite high up.
Wow. My gosh.
We'll keep climbing to get the expanse.
Okay. Oh, wow. Are we above the clouds, or is that ice?
It's all ice.
Wow, my God.
So we're coming into a valley that used to have a pretty substantial glacier flowing down, but as these ridges wasted away, you can kind of get an idea where the ice used to be if you just look at the valley walls. There's basically no vegetation from
Where the rock starts.
yeah, sort of our elevation down.
Near the capital of Alaska is the Juneau Ice Field, one of the largest collections of glaciers in the world. They've been around since the last ice age, always churning, spread out as far as the eye can see. In total, they hold 79 trillion gallons of water.
There's over there this Taku,
Yeah.
which we're coming up on. Taku is it's definitely the biggest glacier at the Juneau Ice Field. It's one of the deepest valley glaciers that have been measured.
Is that where you want us to go, where you want us to set down?
Yeah, somewhere in that area.
Okay.
Kind of feels like going home, checking on the glacier.
You're going home to the glacier.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you want to head to first?
Should head over that way.
Okay.
Yeah, this can be a pretty lovely spot.
Oh, not the easiest place to be. I wasn't expecting sand on a glacier.
Taku is a tidewater glacier, which means it's one that interacts with the ocean. There are something like 50 tidewater glaciers in Alaska. If the climate was steady, you would expect most of them to be advancing because the advance phase takes centuries, whereas the retreat phase takes a few decades. But what we see right now is that there's only a few that are advancing. Almost all of them are retreating. And now Taku just switched from advance to retreat. Just behind you, there's a hill. That's the moraine. The glacier was sitting there in 2015.
So the glacier was...
The end of the glacier was like sitting right at the top of that hill.
So this was snow and ice?
This was beneath the glacier where we're standing. You know, in Southeast Alaska, this was one of our glaciers that was holding out and not doing what the climate was telling it to do, but finally the climate caught up to it and it started retreating as a result of climate change.
Isn't it amazing? I'm gonna drink some. It's so beautiful and crystal clear. I mean, you can see every rock, every bit of sediment underneath, can't you?
If you look globally, something like a third of sea level rise is currently coming from small glaciers. And so the small glaciers in the mountains are actually contributing a lot to sea level rise at the moment. And the reason for that is because they're small, they also respond more quickly to climate change. The models are saying that the Juneau ice field will be mostly gone within the next 100 years or so.
God, I can't imagine the impact that's going to have on the world. It's hard to imagine the impact that those melting ice glaciers are going to have if or when they melt. I mean, the devastation that it will cause on the town of Juneau and the tourists that come to see the splendor of this beautiful landscape. It will change everything. What happens here, the melting ice, the water, the way it goes into the planet's waterways, it's going to have an impact not just to the local community or even Alaska, but places far, far away.
Archaeology is inextricably linked to climate change. Now, scientists in both groups are sounding the alarm. As the world continues to warm over the coming decades, melting glaciers in places like Alaska will impact far-off oceans, seas, land, and the people and cultural sites on it. Climate change poses a danger to natural and cultural heritage all over the world. In 2014, it was just potentially a threat. By 2017, it was the fastest growing. And by 2020, it was classed as the most widespread. In fact, today, by far the greatest threat to UNESCO World Heritage Sites is the effect of our warming planet. Off the coast of Tanzania lies the island of Kilwa Kisiwani. It's considered to be the oldest Swahili settlement, and at its height, the capital of the entire Swahili coast. Kilwa has seen many powerful rulers, from the Swahili to the Arab Empire through to the Portuguese, and many more.
It's hard to believe that this place
on the other side of the world, faces the consequences of Alaskan ice fields melting. But it does. The two are interconnected. Mercy Mbogela is the site manager for this UNESCO World Heritage treasure. She works with a local community who live on the island to maintain this place. I didn't know people lived here. I thought this was just a tourist site, really. I didn't realize that. How many people live on the island?
There are almost 1,500 people who lived here in the island, the local community.
Wow.
Yeah, they lived here before designation of the site as a national heritage site. So that's why we term the local community as part of our history or our culture.
Mercy is my guide for the day and leads the way to its first wonder. Oh, wow.
The Great Mosque of Kilwa Kisiwani. In the 11th century, they constructed this one.
There must have been hundreds of thousands of people that have come here
Yes,
to
exactly.
worship, to offer salah, to pray to God.
Yes.
This place is not just cultural, it's religious.
History, architecture, but also it have religious values. You know, the big history it have, Kilwa is a big site compared to other national heritage in Tanzania. It's very important to preserve, to conserve for today and for future generation.
You work with UNESCO a lot. So when you're at these big events and you're talking to site managers from around the world, one of the main concerns you have for the preservation of World Heritage sites is climate change?
Exactly. It's a climate change, like what you see here in Kilwa Kisiwani.
I haven't seen anything, so I don't know, but I'm hoping maybe you can show me.
We'll go down to see how climate change has impacted our monument.
Okay, yeah. All right. We moved on to the north of Kilwa Kisiwani, where new powerful forces are claiming the island.
The next area is Portugal Fort.
And be careful.
In the Portugal Fort, we can see the big wall which eroded and falling down.
This wall?
Yes, the wall you see there.
What happened?
The wall was falling down because of the wave action. So you can see the impact of climate change.
Geriza Fort, once the powerhouse of the Portuguese colonial empire, now a world-renowned site of cultural importance, lies in tatters. Mercy was new in her job when the call came. Coastal erosion had started to eat away the foundations of the ruins.
The local community, they call me Messi. There is a wall which dropped down. Oh, I have shocked them. My God, what can I do? They thought that maybe we took too long to mitigate or to protect.
And they were angry with you?
Yeah.
How much longer do you think you have before the fort is lost to the erosion into the water?
Maybe 20 years.
Maybe.
Maybe.
So this place that's been here for hundreds of years has 20 years left?
No measures can take him maybe to 20 years.
Oh, Mercy. I want to
Yes.
see inside. Can we go inside, please?
Yes. Let's go. Tim. Come, please. You're welcome.
Why would you build it so close to the water? Why wouldn't you build it?
You know, for the first time they constructing, the water was very far.
Where was the water when it was originally built? How far back?
It is believed that it was more than 100 meters.
You're joking
There.
me.
Yes, from 16th century.
So they had no idea that this would
maybe
happen.
one day something will happen like this one. And that is impact of climate change.
So you built this and you built the wall down there.
Yes.
But still, it's falling. It's always... So this island, this fort has seen many enemies. But the one thing that's going to take it, that's going to defeat it, it's the climate crisis.
Exactly.
It's like it will be erased.
Yes.
It will be gone.
Yeah.
Hi.
Mercy took me home to show me the reason she does this challenging work.
Hi. Hello, baby. Hi. What's your name?
My name is Ibrahim. Memona Nelufar? Nelufar?
Nice to meet you.
I want also my baby to be a conservator.
Just like you.
Yes, I will transfer knowledge to my daughter.
The job that you do,
Yeah.
the work, yeah, it's to preserve your culture.
Yes.
And she is the future.
So for the future, we see my daughter, maybe she can manage to see what we preserved and she can continue to preserve.
Are you ready?
Say I'm ready.
Are you ready, Baba?
I'm ready, Mama.
The race is on to preserve Kilwa for Breeland's generation. If Kilwa Kisiwani is under threat from the impact of emissions and consumption that led to global warming and the climate crisis, who's responsible? Who should pay up? After all, the continent of Africa adds only 3.8% of the harmful climate-changing gases, whereas the US, China, and the whole of Europe adds many times more every year. On this scale, Tanzania is statistically insignificant in causing the climate crisis, but it will suffer more loss and damage. According to the UN, if little continues to be done to protect World Heritage sites like Kilwa, they may irreversibly be lost. Of the countries on the critical list, 57% are on the African continent. But funding isn't matching up to the level of threat. Some countries and sites receive more than others, making it feel as though some cultures are more important to preserve.
What makes Kilwa Kisiwani so special isn't just the fantastic ruins and the buildings, it's the 1,000 and more people that live on this island and call it home. And whatever happens to the island is going to impact them the most. And I want to find out exactly what that means in the community meeting I know they're having just over there.
Ndugu wajumbe, tumeitana hapa katika kikao chetu hiki kama ni wadau wa Kilwa Kisiwani. Lengo la kuitana kujadili changamoto mbalimbali. Karibuni wajumbe kwa mahojiano ya jambo hilo.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Mwenyekiti. Tunafanya nini ili tuweze kusevu hilo?
Tuna masikitiko makubwa kuhusu magofu, mmomonyoko kwa ajili pembeni ya bahari huko.
Tunaona asili kuwa huku kulikuwa na majengo.
Kulikuwa na majengo sawa sawa.
Lakini sasa majengo yale tayari yako ndani ya maji. Wasiwasi wetu sisi kwa vizazi vijavyo kuwa hata haya vile vile yatakuwa ndani ya maji. Sawa, kisiwa kipo kingi huko, lakini rasilimali zilizopo hizi zote ziko katika ukingo wa bahari.
Sisi tuko katika urithi wa dunia, basi lazima gawio lije kwa jamii. Hapo hamna kitu. Hamna kitu kabisa. Urithi wa dunia kama urithi wa dunia tu. Lakini ukiangalia sasa maslahi ya urithi wa dunia yako low, hamna kitu kabisa.
Ya mali zetu hizi.
It's extremely jarring to be sat in the middle of quite a delicate conversation with tourists in the background. With the permission of the chief, I'd like to ask some of my own questions. Do you think that the world knows what's happening to you, and do you think that we care?
Sidhani kama wanaona, na kama wanaona basi nasema kwamba labda hawajali.
Kwa hiyo sasa, pamoja na hayo yote tunayoona mataifa mengine kwamba hayajali, wao wanatengeza nani kule manyuklia, sisi ndo tunatunza misitu, ndio inaokuja kunyonya vitu vile, lakini bado itabidi wao lazima wafahamu kama thamani ya Tanzania, thamani ya Kilwa kwa sababu ya urithi huu wa magofu.
Kwanza kitu ambacho ninachangia, nyinyi wageni wetu mliokuja hapa leo, mmekuja kujua changamoto zetu na tumetoa changamoto zetu. Nyinyi mnaondoka mnakwenda nje, mwende mkatutolee taarifa. Tumetembelea Kilwa Kisiwani, tumekaa na wadau wa Kilwa Kisiwani, wametueleza 1, 2, 3 changamoto zao hizi.
As the community meeting draws to a close, my time on the island is nearly up.
Bye-bye.
But there's one more visit to make. I've been called by the village rainmakers to witness their ritual. And I'm running late. Under the shade of the 8-century-old baobab tree, they start.
Kwa maisha yangu ya kuona kujua kitu hiki kinaathiri au kitu hiki hakiathiri. Hizo mila hizo zote ini tunatafuta nini? Kama vile ukame wa mvua. Zinakuwa ikiwa siku 7 inakuwa siku 7. Tukisha pale hizi hatupiki, lakini ndio mila yetu. Historia. Lakini kwa vile mila kituongoza tunafanya hivi, na mikuta yetu ile uko kamba zile tunaitwa nkuta. Kwa mti mmoja hapo lini mrefu tunaungana hizi kamba za kusuka hizi. Kwa mila zilivyokifuata tangu hawa wazee wetu, na hata sisi tulikuwa tunatizama wazee wetu nini kinachofuata. Ni watu wa kufuatia tu sisi kuona. Sasa basi zile mila zinazofuata tukitoka kule tu, mvua inanyesha ya usalama, ilikuwa maisha yangu ya kuona kujua kitu hiki kinaathiri au kitu hiki hakiathiri. Maji haya ilikuwa hayafiki sehemu, lakini sasa hapa maji yanasogea kila siku, inakuwa mchanganyiko. Tukibadilisha mabadiliko kama tumekishazoea mabadiliko yale. Ya mvua, ya mvua ya nchi yetu.
The ritual is the people, and this land is the culture.
There are the obvious things that will be lost when the full force of the climate crisis hits. The tangible things, right? The things we can see, the histories we can pass, the archaeological digs we can go on. And the more we learn, the more it fills our book of humanity, of who we were and who we are. But there's the intangible things, like what I've just witnessed, that will be lost once this island is impacted to the full degree. The things that are unseen and will probably never happen here again. Sure, of course, we can read it in the history books. But the choices we're making, the climate crisis where it is today and where it's heading into, those choices are going to be the deciding factor of whether this is history or lived culture.